Export Watermarking Tool. It's a FLIR AIC group creation. You can see here are the release notes. Down here we can see, all the way from installation to configuration of all of the individual settings, the text settings, the image settings. We can do both or one or the other. So let's go ahead and just launch the application itself, following all the givens. You could change some of these, of course, but you can see how easy it is to install and how fast it installs. So let's go ahead and confirm the installation right here. Click Next. And you can see it doesn't take long at all before it is complete. All right, now that it's complete, all we got to do is hit close, and then we can see the actual tool will show up in our programs now. So let's go ahead and close this window. And now you can see, let's take a look down in our programs. You can see the FLIR Export Watermark Configurator has been installed. Let's go ahead and launch it. You can see I also have a desktop icon here. Now once the application is launched, you can see there's a couple of things across the top: image, text, advanced, etc. I've already preloaded. There are some things in these, and here's a logo that I'm going to use. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at how this works. Now looking at the bottom here, these are two important things: the VMS login and the watermark service. So we could reload the settings. I've already been playing around with this. Or we could actually watermark now a file that's already been created. So let's go ahead and give my watermark configurator the address of my directory. I'm using the default admin no password. Here is where we can insert a file, and as you can see, I've done that. This is the path to that file. It's sitting on the desktop, so I just wrote to there. Notice we can position the watermark, top right, bottom left, whatever we want to do with it. I'm just going to leave it at the bottom right. And we have some horizontal margins and vertical margins as well. It's the number of pixels away from. So you can play around with this a little bit at your leisure and see some of the different positionings you can use with that. Here is where the text overlay would go, right? It just has default user in there now. Here's some more margins. Again, text related. Over here, the color of the text itself, or the background, we're going to set to orange, and the opacity we're going to crank up just to make the background behind the text solid. And we'll go ahead and use an example. Just call it watermark text, and that's what we'll actually have displayed on there. And then in the advanced section, it's just a slider bar that tells you it'll get done faster if you are okay with a larger file, right? If you want the file really small, it's going to take a little bit longer to export. Now, also, this is an important one too. You can delete the original file after it's added the watermark, but I don't like to do that. I like to have both. So let's go ahead and just apply our settings. And you'll see, there we go, we have the watermark service has just been turned on, and if we keep our eye on that one for just another second or two, there's the VMS login. So now we're ready to go. So now we just simply close it. Again, I like this message. It tells you you're going to not save stuff in case you wanted to, and it allows you to go ahead and make sure you do. So let's go to Control Center now, and we'll take a look at the video itself once it is exported and the watermark text and picture has been applied to the system based on the settings in the configurator tool. And here's Control Center. I'll just grab a camera really quickly, throw it into the live pane, and click on Instant Replay, the fastest way to get to the timeline. Now that we're down at the timeline right down here, you can see I'll just grab a little quick export, right click here and export it. And let's go ahead and choose a spot. I've already created the Watermark Exports folder you saw on the desktop. So let's go ahead and go to the advanced section just so we can choose the type. And for this example, I'm just going to use an MP4 so I can play it in Windows Media Player. Hit OK. And the video is being rendered. Should be ready for export any second now. And there it is. So let's go ahead and double click. Now you can see the files that are listed right here, right? This is an actual watermark file. So it's, it shows it's a video file. It has the _WMK. And we can see down here now my video has the watermark on the bottom and the text that we wanted on the left with the black text and the orange background. Now finally, if we have a video already exported from Latitude or not, we could reload some individual settings here if we wanted to. If I just reloaded them again, to make sure that they're the same as what we used before. Now I'm going to come over here and click on the Watermark Now button where it asks me what video it is I want to put a watermark on. So I've got a couple of examples. Here's the end of the Shawshank Redemption. It's a movie that most people have seen. And you can see right here the indicator bar is sliding up. Again, this is how fast this exports or applies the watermark to the video is controlled by that slider bar under advanced, where we can actually crank it all the way to the left, where it's going to make a much smaller file size but take longer to do it, or all the way to the right, which of course does the opposite of that. So we're almost done now. It's about applied and looks good to go. So we're going to simply go and open up that file again. And now we're going to take a look at the new file that will have been created, right? We left that original box not checked, so it didn't delete the old one. So here we have the two files. And as you can see, if I expand them a little bit, which one is which, right? The top one's the original one. The bottom one is the watermarked file. Let's take a look. And one of the closing scenes in Shawshank Redemption now has the logo on the bottom right that I wanted and the text on the bottom left.